Fight!
I have something to confess to you guys. I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but I was a pick-me girl. Jokes aside, I was actually a pick-me girl, an embarrassing era in my timeline. A pick-me is a person who seeks validation from others and throws other people under the bus to get said validation, often embarrassing themselves in the process. We're talking about girls, so in this instance, she often puts down other women to make themselves appear better and the ideal woman. However, they usually have pent-up internal misogyny and often hate themselves for not being what they believe men want them to be, resulting in getting into unhealthy, toxic relationships with the worst men who idolize the unrealistic, ideal, traditional woman. A lot of women have this phase in their life. When they grow out of it, they become a girl's girl, a woman who prioritizes supporting and uplifting women. They value their female friendships and stand in solidarity with women in various aspects of life. Not only do they support women who want their own independent lives and become their own boss, but also women who enjoy cooking, cleaning, and want to be a mother. I've noticed the term pick-me girl has gotten jumbled around on the internet lately, and people are calling women pick-me girls for like doing something boyish or something like that. Like, no, let's get this straight. There's nothing wrong with liking different things. Wear no makeup, stay in on a Friday night and read. Listen to your rock and roll music, dye your hair, wear jeans and a hoodie. I don't think you're a pick-me for doing any of those things. I do, however, think you're a pick-me when you think you're better than other women for doing said things. No offense, but you're not any better than the girl eating a salad who gets her hair and nails done. I, however, am. I am better than all women and men, and you're just tiny little mice that I feed little cookies to. I was a pick-me all throughout school until I graduated high school. It took a lot of self-growth to gain enough confidence in my identity as a woman to finally realize validation from others that couldn't give two about you means absolute shit, and we're gonna talk about why later. In elementary school, I was terribly violent. My mom had me in Taekwondo for self-defense against bullies and kidnappers, but little did she know, I pulled an amazing power move on her. I used the techniques I learned in martial arts to bully other students. Some women used to be told when they were young, they're mean to you because they like you. Of course, that encourages domestic abuse later on in life, but me? No, I'm not like other girls. I took that phrase and ran with it. I was horrid to the boys I liked. I had long nails in elementary and I would purposefully scratch the boys I liked as hard as possible when playing tag. It was funny because if I didn't want you, I wouldn't engage with you, but if I did, you needed to watch your back from me. I actually have a faint pencil lead mark in the middle of my hand because I tried stabbing my crush with a mechanical pencil, but instead I stabbed myself. Alright, hold on, hear me out. All this violence was me trying to prove that I wasn't girly. I was taught from a young age that boys are strong and winners and that boys are better than girls because of that. Boys can handle the pain and girls were weak and fragile. I tried my best to showcase that I didn't need any protection and that I was someone you needed protection from. I took pride in that. All the boys in class were scared of me and all my fellow martial arts colleagues were ridiculed because a girl beat them up. No one stopped my behavior either. I was just a simple, weak girl. There's no possible way a cute little Asian girl like me could hurt any of the big, strong boys. Until the boys grew up and all surpassed me easily by the time we hit high school, but that's besides the point. This is why I believe the patriarchy hurts everyone. None of the boys fought back because I was a girl, and boys were taught to not hit girls. I'm not trying to say they should, but I was a bully, and now that I'm grown, I wish someone would have taught me that girls can't hit boys either. No hitting at all. Equal rights does not mean equal fights. It means don't hit anyone. I'm a behavioral technician now, and I was talking to one of my kids about hitting and fighting. He told me that his classmates told him that hitting a girl is illegal, but hitting a boy is not. I had to correct him because no, that's not true. It's illegal to hit anybody, not just girls. He then said that's what everyone says at school, that you can't hit girls, but hitting boys is fine. Everyone wonders why modern parents decide to homeschool. I won't talk about my school days as a pathetic pick-me, mostly because I can't really remember much about it, and the bits that I do remember, there's no way I'm sharing that publicly. I wanted to talk about what happened after high school because that's when I started seeing things more clearly. I worked at a hibachi restaurant and my coworkers, including the servers, were primarily male. They were very typical hetero boys too, so I wanted to share what I learned from those boys. When I worked at this restaurant, I was very confident in my gender identity. I still am, of course. My femininity is not so fragile that another woman in a 200-foot radius of me will not make me cry and on the floor, which I am incredibly grateful for. I could only imagine the secondhand embarrassment I would get right now if I were a pathetic, insecure pick-me. I appreciated the few women that I did work with. I also noticed that my boss was kind of the pick-me type as well. She was pretty sexist and racist. It wasn't like she hated a particular race. She and her husband just very obviously obviously favored Asian people. Like one night we were closed, all the way closed. It wasn't even last minute customers, yet that didn't matter to my bosses. They let in this Asian family and even bought them sake. They were a sweet Asian family that I had the pleasure to serve 10 minutes after we had already closed. I would have been delighted to serve them if I didn't already expect to leave 15 minutes ago. We actually didn't have a set time to leave. We would wait until what the day was like how busy it would seem to get, and my boss would just send whoever she liked the least home first. I remember one night she sent all the women who worked on the floor home first. I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought it was funny. None of the girls complained because we got to go home. It's not what the patriarchy does to you, it's what it does for you, ladies. Anyways, I began to learn what set apart the stereotypical boy from the stereotypical girl. Even in school, I never picked up the difference between boys and girls besides biologically, of course. 8th grade really spelled that out, used it in a sentence, and defined it for all of us. An example would be if any of the boys came up to me about problems that were stressing them out or made them feel depressed, they'd be surprised when I would give a sincere response. That would be so bizarre to me until I would think about it, and honestly fair. Men are constantly ridiculed for showing literally any emotion. I'm gonna be real with you, I made fun of them too. Fuck sports fans. But for real, men often don't have a safe place to vent without being mocked, so showing them basic human empathy and praising me for it was insane. So hey, when this video is done, you should check up on your guy friends. Another thing I learned is that boys talk about girls just as much as girls talk about guys. I swear, they'd be like the judges on America's Next Top Model with how much they would talk about our feminine customers. They would also criticize each other if one of them found some girl attractive and the others didn't. If they started making fun of me for like finding some goth girl cute, then the conversation would end with me saying something like, "We have different types. That's fine." For some reason, these boys didn't consider that I'd be okay with them thinking that the people I find attractive are ugly to them. Like guys, everyone has different standards. It's not something we should be arguing about. This guy, I'll call him Mihawk, had a very stern definition of what he thought was attractive. I was sitting down at my break talking to him and he told me that he doesn't like interacting with ugly people, including men. By the way, that wasn't a diss towards me. I am gorgeous. Plus, Mihawk considered me his friend, so I'm not ugly, I swear. Shanks, who I mentioned in a previous video, and Mihawk were really close friends. Maybe because they were both pretty shallow, but who knows? Shanks was the one that got Mihawk his job at that restaurant. Since I was closer to their age group, they would often invite me out to parties with them, or go do donuts, or even get Dutch bros with them. I used to hang out with Shanks and Mihawk sometimes after work and eat in the restaurant with them. They would go on their phones, and Shanks would start talking about the drama with his girlfriend, and they were always having some sort of problem. This is the really part that I remember being one of the boys with them, was that Shanks would show Mihawk and me his girlfriend's Mihawk even had a favorite and told Shanks to send him his favorite one so he could keep it in his phone. I was weirded out for obvious reasons, but all I said was, "I don't think your girlfriend wants you doing that." And his response was, "Okay, she sent them to me so I can do whatever I want with them." Yikes! Ladies, are you really putting down other girls for this? No, I'm kidding. I'm not trying to shame anyone here, except maybe for those boys, because oh my god, that's despicable behavior. Seriously though, as an ex-pick-me girl, no guy is above you in any way. You may feel like you need their validation to feel confident about yourself, but I promise, even when you get it, it will never be enough. You can't impress everybody, but that's okay. I asked the men around me what they thought about girls like that, and I'll give you the answer for free. Unlike some people, the first thing most of them would say is that they'd find him pathetic and desperate. Who would have thought? They basically summed it up as, how do you see pick-me guys? That's how we see you too. So there you go, there's your answer to how to impress a guy. You are unique, different, and quirky, but so are other girls in their own way. I support you girls on your journey to find and learn to love yourself without the validation from others. In all realness, I don't think women, including me, are better than men, and I don't think men are better than women. Of course we have our differences and will never truly be equal, but I think every person is too unique with their own experiences to dumb it down to men equal good and women equal bad, or vice versa. You're welcome to spew your thoughts and argue any of my points in the comments. I had to record this twice, so if I sound salty, that might be a factor. But as always, thank you so much for watching, but that's all for now. Laters!